Good morning, children. Welcome you all to our next class of botany. In the previous class, we studied about the attributes of living organism. In today's class, we are going to study about an organism which is very widely discussed and has affected other organisms also. In the recent past also, different forms of this organism like Ebola, Zika, AIDS, SARS, H1N1 and the present form Corona has affected human beings. Now I think everybody might have guessed it. Yes, it is virus. So today we are going to study in detail about virus. Now it is an organism which is said to be a biological puzzle and can cause disease in man. Now why virus is said to be a biological puzzle? This virus is said to be a biological puzzle because it shows some attributes of living organism and some attributes of non-living organism. As we have studied in the previous class, attributes of the living organisms. Okay, that is the living organisms, they show growth, they can reproduce, they can multiply. Okay, similarly virus also, they can grow, reproduce, multiply, can cause disease. But some attributes of virus, they do not match with the living organism. That is, they do not have a cellular arrangement or cellular structure. Cellular structure means a cell consists of a nucleus surrounded by cytoplasm, and in the cytoplasm there are numerous cell organelles like mitochondria, Golgi bodies, ribosomes, etc. And each cell organelle has its own function. As a result, a cell is said to be a complete entity. So all the activities of a living organism takes place inside a cell. But in the case of virus, such cellular arrangement is absent. So it depends on other organism for its survival. So is it clear? So we can say it does not have an attribute of a living organism, that is cellular structure is absent. Since cellular structure is absent, it does not have its own metabolism. So as a result, virus is said to be a biological puzzle. Now since it is living on an other organism, when an organism live on another organism entirely depends on the other organism, so what it will do, it will cause some harm to the organism on which it is living or growing. So here also the virus is causing a disease to the organism or the host on which they are living. So what are these hosts? It can be a plant, it can be an animal, or it can be a human being. So as a result we say virus, they causes diseases. Okay. So here this word virus is derived from a Latin word means poison. Okay, so discovery of virus also, it took many years to discover virus. Previously it was said to be a bacteria which is causing the diseases in plants. Later on it was discovered that this is an organism which is smaller than bacteria which is causing diseases in plants. And the scientist who first discovered or we obtained the virus in the crystallized form was W.M. Stanley. Okay, so here the word virus means poison. So how we can describe a virus? Virus are submicroscopic. As we have said, virus, they are smaller than bacteria. Okay, so here, and this virus cannot be seen under a compound microscope. It can be observed only under a ultra microscope. So it is said to be submicroscopic, smaller than the other microscopic organism. Next, it is said to be an obligate intracellular parasite. Obligate means compulsorily, strictly. Okay, so here this virus, strictly it requires a living host for its survival. Okay, next intracellular, the word intra, intra, the word intra means within a cell. Okay, intra means within, cellular, within a cell. So this virus, it grows within a living cell. Since it is growing inside a living cell, it is said to be a parasite. As we have already studied, parasites are the organisms which grows on other living organism. So virus is defined as submicroscopic obligate intracellular parasites. Now the structure of virus, as we have already discussed earlier, it does not have a cellular arrangement. So here the structure of virus, there are only two components. One is the nucleic acid. This nucleic acid is the genetic material. It may be either a DNA or it may be an RNA. And this is surrounded by protein covering or the protein coat. So here you can see in this diagram here, two diagrams of virus I am showing here. First one is the adenovirus. You can see in the center the reddish color portion, that is the DNA here. Okay, so that is the genetic material, the nucleic acid, and it is surrounded by a purple color layer, that is the protein coat. Okay, the next we are discussing about tobacco mosaic virus. Here also you can see the red spring like structure, that is the genetic material RNA, which is surrounded by yellow color petal like structures. They are called the capsomeres. Group of capsomeres, they are called the capsid. Is it clear? So structure of virus, if you see, there are only two components. One is the nucleic acid. It may be DNA or it may be RNA, which is surrounded by the protein coat. Okay, children. So here, so we have studied, they have a nucleic acid core surrounded by the protein coat. Now, this study of virus is called as virology. The study of virus is called as virology. So, as we already studied, W.M. Stanley is an American scientist who obtained the virus in crystallized form from the infected tobacco juice. That is, when the tobacco plant was infected by the virus. So, from the tobacco plant, the sap was obtained, and from that he obtained the virus in the crystallized form, and so for that he was given a. Okay, children, next we are going to study about milestones in virology. In the year 1796, Edward Jenner used vaccination for smallpox. Now you can see, in the olden days, smallpox was a very deadly disease. 10 people were affected by the smallpox, out of them 3 definitely they used to die. So here Edward Jenner discovered this vaccination from his milkmaid. He saw that the milkmaid was suffering from cowpox, but as she was suffering from cowpox, she never suffered with smallpox. So he came to conclusion, the people suffering from cowpox, they were never infected with the smallpox virus. So from this cowpox only, he discovered the smallpox vaccination. Okay. Next, in 1886, Adolf Meyer demonstrated the infectious nature of tobacco mosaic virus using sap of mosaic leaves. So here, Adolf Meyer explained that the tobacco mosaic virus, okay, is the responsible for causing a mosaic-like disease in the tobacco plant. Next milestone you can see, in 1892, Dmitry Ivanenko proved virus they are smaller than the bacteria. Now here we have already studied to measure the microscopic organisms, or we can measure an object either by direct method or indirect method. So here, since these organisms they are microscopic, we follow the indirect method. Indirect method means based on the magnification power of the lens, okay, or by comparison method. So for discovering the virus, this the sap of the tobacco mosaic tobacco plant was passed through this bacterial filters. Okay, this filter pores, they are of known size. These were passed through the spores of this bacterial filters. Then this sap, this organism, this virus was not filtered in this filters. Okay, so from this Dmitry Ivanenko, he proved that virus they are smaller than bacteria. That is why they were not able to be stopped by the bacterial filters. Next, in 1898, M.W. Wagering defined the infectious agent as infectious agent in tobacco leaves as contagium vivum fluidum. So here Weijering he defined that is in the tobacco plant the disease nature it is the infectious nature of the virus was said to be contagium, that is it is contagious. If the infected leaves, the sap from the infected leaf is taken and applied on the another healthy leaf, the healthy leaf is also getting the disease. So it was said that the sap it is contagium vivum, that is poisonous, fluidum it is liquid. So here it is Weijering confined that this infectious agent, the causative agent of this tobacco mosaic disease in tobacco plant is a contagious poisonous fluid. So that was called as contagium vivum fluidum. In 1915, F.W. Todd identified viral infection in bacteria. So Todd found that this virus was able to cause infection even in the bacteria. This was called as bacteriophage by D. Herald in 1917. So here as we studied, virus can cause infection in bacteria. This is called as bacteriophage. This term was given by D. Herald in 1917. Now in 1984, Luc Montagnier and Robert Gallo discovered HIV. This we have studied. This HIV virus, this was discovered by Luc Montagnier and Robert Gallo, which is the causative agent for the disease AIDS. Next, let's study about the size and shape of virus. Virus, they are ultramicroscopic particles. As we already studied, they can be observed only under the powerful microscope. They cannot be viewed under the compound microscope. So, the virus are said to be ultramicroscopic. They are smaller than bacteria and the diameter it ranges from 20 to 300 nanometer. Bacteriophage. What is bacteriophage? We have studied the bacteria infected from virus. They are called as bacteriophage. It measures about 10 to 100 nanometer in size. The size of tobacco mosaic virus is 300 into 20 nanometer. Generally, the virus they are of three types based on the shape and symmetry. They are cuboid symmetry, helical symmetry, complex or atypical. So you know the cuboid shape. Cuboid is a cuboid shape. We can compare it is a ludo dice. You can say it is cuboidal in shape. So here cuboid has a symmetry. So those virus which is having a cuboidal shape, they are called as cuboid symmetry. Okay, example for cuboid symmetry is adenovirus or herpes virus. Next is helical symmetry. Helical symmetry means the virus which is having a spiral structure, spiral spring-like structure. They are said to be helical symmetry. So here you can find the virus, influenza virus and TMV. They have the helical symmetry. Third shape of virus, you can say it is complex or atypical. Complex or atypical means it is particular virus only has that particular shape. This shape is not found in any other virus. It's a complex structure. It will not come under cuboidal also, helical also, or does not show any symmetry. So it is said to be a complex or atypical. Example for complex or atypical is bacteriophage or vaccinia virus. So here you can see the diagram. Adenovirus. Adenovirus is an example for cuboidal symmetry. 6 phases are there. Okay. So here already we have studied a virus consists of only two components, the nucleic acid and the protein covering. Next you can see tobacco mosaic virus. It exhibits the helical symmetry. So here this RNA, they are in the form of a spiral structure and this RNA is surrounded by protein coats. They are called the capsid. And the third shape you can say bacteriophage. Okay, this is said to be a tadpole-like structure. It is having a head, a collar region, a tail region, then tail fibers are there, basal plate is there. In the head region you can find the genetic material, that is the nucleic acid, DNA is present there. So this structure is peculiar for bacteriophage, so it is said to be a atypical structure. Next we can study the characteristic features of virus. Already we studied virus, they show both living as well as non-living characteristics. So what are the living characteristics found in virus? So presence of nucleic acid and protein. Okay, nucleic acid is a genetic material. Since the presence of nucleic acid and the protein code, it is considered as a living character capable of mutation. Mutation means any sudden change in the genetic setup. This DNA or RNA, any change in the nucleotide sequences taking place. Okay, that is possible in virus. Ability to multiply within a living cell. Inside a living host, they can multiply rapidly, able to infect and cause disease in living beings. Virus, the organism in which they are living, they cause infection and cause the disease. So this is also considered as a living characteristics. Show irritability. As we have studied, this virus can undergo mutation, that is change in the genetic setup. The DNA or RNA can undergo any changes. Since then there is a change in this RNA and DNA, it will show the irritability in the living organism. Next, they are host specific. Host specific means plant virus will affect only the plants. Okay, and animal virus will affect only the animals. For example, tobacco mosaic virus. This will not affect any animals or human beings. Similarly, the cold, common cold as we can find in human beings, this common cold virus will not affect the plants. So here this virus, they are host specific. Particular virus will attack only the particular host. Next, non-living characteristics of virus. They can be crystallized. Crystallized is a form, a geometrical form, a crystallized shape, you can get it, a non-living structure. Absence of metabolism, already we studied. In the virus, there is no cellular arrangement, there is no cell organelles are there, so no particular metabolism of its own the virus have. Next, inactive outside the host. If the virus is taken outside the host, a living host, it will act as a dead body, a dead living thing, a dead thing which cannot multiply, which cannot metabolize. Next, they do not show functional autonomy. That is, they cannot perform their own function. They depend on the host. Okay, the genome of the virus, the genetic material of the virus will mix with the genetic material of the host, and then they can perform. Individually, they cannot do any functions. Last one, energy producing enzyme system is absent. So the energy process, here no cell organelles are there, so no enzymes are secreted or produced for producing any energy.